We got some trade rumors to discuss. We're going to break down Trey Hendrickson and the latest around the former Saints edge rusher who's now with the Cincinnati Bengals, potentially could possibly return back to the black and gold. Would be really, really cool. But he released a statement on the situation with ESPN. We got a lot to discuss around there. But also coming up, we're going to dive into the possibility of trading Rashid, the need for speed, Shaheed. Because Bleacher Report, despite them, having not a ton of ball knowledge, I would say, they did list Rashid Shaheed as a trade candidate. So I'm going to just get into my reaction. I'm going to share my thoughts on it. And nothing crazy. I just wanted to give my take. So, really quick, it's a special day. I got to just take a second before we dive into some trade rumors. It's the Honey Badger's birthday. Send some love to 32. Louisiana's son turns 33 years old today. Happy birthday, Tyrann Mathieu. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope your family celebrates you. I hope you have a great weekend, a great week. Man, I absolutely love watching you every single Sunday. One of my favorite players to ever wear the black and gold. Shout out to Tyrann Mathieu. Happy birthday, my friend. Keep on keeping on. One of the best to ever do it. All right, let's dive into some trade rumors. First things first, I want to take a look at what Trey Hendrickson had to say on the contract situation. And this is coming from Adam Schefter, the whole thing put out on a tweet, but we condensed it into a couple of graphics here. So first things first, no communication has taken place between my camp and the organization post-draft. This is coming from Trey Hendrickson. The offers prior to the draft did not reflect the vision we shared and were promised last offseason if I continue to play at a high level. Coaches are aware of these past conversations. Rather than using collaboration to get us to a point to bring me home to the team, they are no longer communicating. I have been eagerly awaiting a resolution of this situation, but that's hard to do when there is no discussion and an evident lack of interest in reaching mutual goals. Clearly, there's trouble in paradise up in Cincinnati, and Jordan Schultz today, he added a little bit more to this whole situation. Basically, Hendrickson, he got a text from the head coach of the Bengals, Zach Taylor, saying that he would be fine if he didn't show up to some of these practices and whatnot. Long story short, Trey Hendrickson has made his presence known around the team. Seems like he wants to get a deal done. Seems like he wants to stay in Cincinnati, and it's just like, give me a reason to stay here. Make my decision easy. Give me the money I'm asking for, and there's no problem. It's not that hard of a conversation. For what it's worth, this did frustrate Trey Hendrickson. According to Jordan Schultz, the Bengals have not had good communication with the top edge rusher and the top sack artist in the National Football League throughout the entirety of the offseason, and he did make it very, 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 very clear he will not play on the final year of his current contract when he's due $16 million this season. He wants that top pass rusher money. I'm talking the Myles Garrett dough. In 2025, Myles Garrett is set to make $22.9 million, but he just inked a massive extension, 4 years, $160 million. So I could see Trey Hendrickson wanting something upwards of over $20+ million. He wants that top money because he's a top producing sack artist in the National Football League, and I think that's totally fair. If you're a good football player, you should ask for a lot of money. That's not really that hard of a conversation. And I'm just going to say this right now. Mickey Loomis, I need you to do one of these. I need you to pick it up, get your phone out, start dialing, call. Here, I'm gonna just go ahead and do this for you guys. We're going to go ahead and call the Bengals, and I'm going to do it for Mickey Loomis because I need him to make this happen. I'm going to speak it into existence. Call the Bengals. Start dialing the phone, Mickey Loomis. It is clear there's trouble in paradise. It is clear he does not want to play on this deal. And it's clear that the Bengals are being difficult. And I can tell you right now, if you add Trey Hendrickson to the Saints defensive line, you can right your wrongs of ever letting him leave in the first place. That's one. But two, you get the best player in the National Football League at producing sacks. Over the last year, 17.5 sacks for the Bengals, and I would kill to have that for the New Orleans Saints. Not to mention, the potential pass rush for New Orleans could be absolutely electric when you take into consideration Brian Brzee, when you take into consideration Cam Jordan, Chase Young, Carl Granderson. All of that is a really good group. But then you add Trey Hendrickson, a player who has had 30-plus sacks in the last 2 seasons. 35 sacks, 17 and a half in each of the last 2 years. That is a player that can make a massive, massive, massive impact on a Saints defense, which quite frankly needs to do better at getting to the passer. Now, this is going to be an expensive trade for what it's worth. Not only will the trade compensation cost you a lot, it's also going to cost you a lot financially. So in draft capital, in terms of players you may have to give up, all of that is going to be expensive in itself. But then separately, you're going to have to pay him a lot of dough. Again, it's very deserved. It's very earned. He should get that kind of money. But the question is, should the Saints be the team to pay for it? Because devil's advocate, I mean, the Saints are in the midst of a youth movement. They are in the process of a rebuild, and for the first time in a few years, right now, the Saints have about $27 million in cap space to spend. Next year, guess what? You cleared $30 million, and you have money to spend. Like, I'm not going to say you're in the red yet or in the green yet, because you're not. Only about $12 million in the red as of right now, based on the projections of Spotrac and everything. But going back to Trey Hendrickson, you want to get younger, you want to get cheaper, because although you have money to spend, that doesn't mean you have to go and do it. And of course, it's fun to be an irrational sports fan and say, give me all the fun players. Now that I have money to spend, might as well. But we have to continue to chip away at getting cap compliant. Do I want to see the Saints get younger? Yes. Do I want to see the Saints get cheaper? Absolutely. But do I also want to see this kind of player on the field back in the black and gold? There's no question about it. I mean, even going back to his time in New Orleans, he was absolutely phenomenal. 13 and a half sacks in his last season back in 2020 with the New Orleans Saints. And then ever since joining the Bengals, he has been very, very, very good for Cincinnati. Now, when talking about a Trey Hendrickson trade idea, here's my proposal. Again, a 2nd-round pick and a 5th-round pick. Honestly, not all that bad. You still get to keep your 1st. You still get to keep a 3rd. You're only giving up a 2nd and a 5th, but you do have to pay the guy a lot of money. I think it's a fair trade. For what it's worth, for both sides, Saints get one of the top edge rushers in the league. The Bengals get some good draft capital, but you don't have to sell the farm for him. So all in all, I think this is a fair trade. What do you think? Would you do it? Get in the comments section. Type trade or type pass for me down below. Be the GM. Put yourself in the shoes of Mickey Loomis and answer that question. Trey Hendrickson for a 2026 2nd and 5th-round pick. Would you do it, trade, or pass? Now, we mentioned that we're going to talk about Rashid Shaheed being a trade candidate because Bleacher Report, they named Sheed as a wide receiver who could potentially be on the trade block. Basically, they put out an article listing 6 different receivers that could be on the trade block after the George Pickens trade and after the draft. And so Christian Watson, John Mechie, Treylon Burks, Quentin Johnston, Alan Lazard, and Rashid Shaheed were all names that were listed. I'm actually kind of surprised that they didn't list Chris Olave. They picked Shaheed over Olave. But for what it's worth, 2 things. 1, keep an eye on those names. Might be worth investing, or at least investigating is what I meant to say. Might be worth it. But 2, what the hell? I absolutely no. I'm not trading Rashid the need for speed Shaheed. He's the most electric player in the National Football League when he's got the pill in his hand. Now, I'll give a chance to Bleacher Report to defend themselves, but I'm just here to tell you right now, absolutely not. This is a terrible decision. It's stupid. It's no good, and I could not disagree more. Let's go to him. The 26-year-old who turns 27 in August is scheduled to hit the open market next spring and will likely be looking for a big payday after being an exclusive rights free agent the last time his contract was up. Meanwhile, the New Orleans Saints are projected to begin next year's offseason in a salary cap hole again by about $43 million, according to Over the Cap, and should prioritize getting a long-term deal done with Chris Olave. Again, I will say I'm surprised they didn't pick Chris Olave for this because he is the bigger name, but I do think there's a few things that I want to address here. Yes, the Saints do need to prioritize getting Chris Olave an extension, getting a deal done there. But it is very unfortunate, and it's very disappointing that Bleacher Report forgot the biggest news in the National Football League over the last 7 days. Derek Carr retired. And if Bleacher Report would have done a half an ounce of research, if you would have taken 30 seconds to do a quick Google search, you would have known that the Saints actually saved $30 million in 2026 because of Derek Carr retiring. So Bleacher Report, just do better. That's my first piece of advice. My second piece of advice would be to pay more attention to Saints Now by Chat Sports, because if you would have done that, you would know, Bleacher Report, that the Saints are actually only in the red about $12.7 million when you also take into consideration how the contracts are right now, but also the increase in the salary cap that happens every year. So for what it's worth, Bleacher Report, do better, be better. I know I'm asking a lot. But I'm also going to tell you this, Bleacher Report, there's absolutely no chance I'm trading Rashid Shaheed. And I would sit here and be like, oh, give him the benefit of the doubt. It happened. This all happened afterwards. No, this article came out after the Derek Carr retire news came out and everything. So no, I'm not trading Rashid Shaheed. There's zero possibility of me being even a little bit interested. Actually, no, I'm going to change that. I could be interested. I could be interested in trading Rashid Shaheed away for 3 first-round picks. Yeah, it's a big ask. Well, it's because he's one of my favorite players on the team. It's because he's a guy that I think has a lot of value on the roster. And to be totally honest, if you, the opposing team, wants a player that's on my team, then I hold all of the cards, the balls are in my court, and I get to be the greedy son of a bitch. That's just how it works. Really quick update on the race to 50K. Before this video, earlier today, we were down by like 8 to 10 subscribers. Y'all showed up big time in a big fashion on our AM video. So shout out to you, Golden Gang. Thank you so much for hitting the sub button. We are now beating the Browns Report in the race to 50K, but we cannot stop. Do not take the pedal off the gas. Keep on chipping away to 50K. 45,860. Let's get to 45,900, and then we can get to 46,000, and then 47, 48, 49, and then we can get to 50K. Let's talk really quickly about Rashid Shaheed, because I feel like a lot of people have forgotten this. Shaheed is recovering from a knee injury that he suffered in the middle of the season last year. He's recovering from a meniscus surgery that sidelined him after an injury midway through the season. And, in terms of whether or not he'll be back anytime soon, I think he'll be ready to roll. I think he should be good to go. But again, you don't want to risk further injury. You don't want to push the player to get back to returning on the field way too soon. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to do that. But look, this is a player that is extremely electric, not just as a return man and as a specialist, but as a receiver. I said it before. I've said it today. I'll say it every damn chance I get. Rashid, the need for speed, Shaheed is the most electric player in the National Football League when he has the football in his hands. He is averaging 1 score every 9.4 catches throughout his career, 16.6 yards per catch, over 1,100 yards, 10 touchdowns. The dude has been a freak, but he's also a special player. Special teams, special plays, special players. Shout out to Sketch. Dude's a freak. We knew that he was going to be a specialist in the return game. We knew that he was going to be a very skilled player in that regard whenever he was signed out of Weber State as an undrafted free agent. And that was a big thing that I harped on and that I was so excited about for Rashid Shaheed was the return ability. And you can go back and check all the tape. You can go back and check the receipts. I said he's going to be really special in the return game, but do not sleep on him as a receiver because he's dangerous in that regard too. And I have been right in that sentiment. I would not trade Rashid Shaheed. This is entirely a portion in a segment of this video saying we love Shaheed. We will never, ever support trading him away. I want to see number 22 with the New Orleans Saints for the foreseeable future. And if you're excited to watch Rashid, the need for speed, Shaheed, if you're ready to watch him ball out this season, type those 22s in the comment section. We didn't get to see him for the whole entire second half of the year, man. It sucks. But it's good to see that he is going to be back on the field. I want him to be back on the field, and I want him to absolutely dominate this year. So I'm typing 22. I need you to do the same thing. Who Dat Nation, I appreciate y'all for tuning into today's video. We put out 2 pieces of content today. Go check out the one that's going to pop up here in a second if you haven't already. But also on top of that, be sure to subscribe to Saints Now by Chat Sports. Turn on your notifications, and don't forget to like the video. Y'all stay golden. Hit your boy up on socials. We'll see you next time.